Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Multifamily X Media interview. We're here with John Azar and Francisco Herrera from Peak 15 Capital. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
John, to begin with, I want to ask you about Peak Titans, your newest initiative. What can you share with us and with the audience?
Sure. Yeah. We're really excited. This is Peak Titans has been something in the works for us for a couple of years. We wanted to put together a high-level executive mastermind, but be able to differentiate not just from the standpoint of the business sectors that are going to be covered, but also from what we do and what happens within that mastermind. A lot of masterminds are obviously about the networking and the deal sharing and possibly ideas for capital and capital raising and operations, which we will have all of those components in our mastermind, but there's also going to be a component of mindset, encouragement, motivation, and there's going to be a big component of outside adventures, which is that's going to take place in our twice a year biannual retreat. So we'll have two retreats a year that are associated with our mastermind for members. In those retreats, we'll have a day of networking and information and deal sharing, market updates, the usual, and then we'll have another full day of just adventures, outside adventures. And they'll have choice in beautiful destinations that we'll have. One of our destinations is going to be Lake Tahoe. Another of our destinations is going to be Salt Lake City. Another of our destinations are going to be probably Banff in Canada. So all over the place, the common denominator is going to be outside adventure. So that's going to be something that's really going to set us apart.
John, who is the ideal mastermind member? The person that you would like to join your group?
Really, any high-level executives in industries like commercial real estate, private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, law. Anybody who's dealing with any kind of financial deals or deal making would be at a higher level, at probably the C-suite or maybe the managing director level would be a great audience. Anybody who's looking to push themselves to not only improve their network, but improve themselves also and kind of shift their mindset and have someone hold them accountable for that new mindset. That would be ideal audience. I mean, it really, anyone who's open to coming in, sharing, networking, and having a ton of fun, because there's going to be, the fun component is going to be a huge aspect of what we do.
I want to go to you, Francisco, next. What gets you excited about this mastermind group?
The fun, really is going to be the journey. We always talk about it. It's all about the journey, right? We can talk numbers, we can talk business, we can talk how we can scale and launch any new ventures, but there has to be some sort of a fun component to it. But I think one of the other bigger things is, besides just like the retreats, is the how impactful this network can actually be. The amount of high impact entrepreneurs, C-suite executives who are willing to not just accept or to not just receive some of that knowledge from other members in the mastermind, but also share that kind of knowledge. Because we have a kind of part of like a Peak 15, Peak Titans slogan is the proximity is power, right? And when you can kind of put that all together into one, where others are willing to kind of receive, be open-minded, and to be able to share some insights, knowledge, it's very impactful for a lot of folks. And I think I'm actually looking forward to that kind of quality of folks. But again, at the same time, being able to have fun along the journey.
Yeah. The mindset component is really, really big part of this mastermind. We are going to be picky on members, and it's not based on necessarily what the net worth is of the member or anything like that. It's really based on their mindset and what they're willing to do and not do, and how far they're willing to push themselves into a network of like-minded executives, but be able to grow that relationship and network in a completely different way than what they're used to. Because a lot of times, we network sometimes we're creatures of habit, right? We network with people in our own hemisphere, in our own network. People in commercial real estate like to network with people in commercial real estate. But if they think outside of that, there's a lot of other places where they can network with people that may play into that field, but they're not exactly into that field. For instance, law, private equity, hedge funds, venture capital. There's ton of places to exchange deals, ideas, capital, but they're not in your normal day-to-day purview. So our mastermind, what we're hoping is our network will be able to provide an opportunity for those folks who don't normally interact with each other to interact with each other in a very, very productive way. And we'll be able to bring components of pushing yourself, mindset, encouragement, as well as the bonding experience that comes with our biannual retreats and adventures that we're going to have.
John, back in May, we met at IMN event in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and I asked you about the market conditions. What was that you saw there? So we're in August right now. What changed since May? What are some changes that you see since last time we talked?
Some of the changes is that capital has been sitting on the side back then, is now trying to come back in the market, but they now have to write bigger checks, especially from an institutional basis or sub-institutional basis. So there's a ton of capital on the sideline that's trying to come into deal, but their appetite is bigger now than what it was 7 or 8 months ago.
Done today where they have to revise, and the economy is not doing as well as everybody's been anticipating. So I think that's going to be correlated, obviously, to what everybody's been talking about a rate cut, right? Coming up in September, everyone's still talking about 25 bips, but we're also seeing that in treasuries, we're almost already seeing that kind of baked in to that. Most folks want to be a little bit more optimistic and say there's going to be a 50 bip cut. We're still kind of leaning more towards the 25 bips, but seeing a lot of deals where it's moving away from the economic standpoint, from a deal perspective. One of the biggest things that matter in the market are inflows of capital. And as John mentioned, I mean, we're starting to kind of see a lot of capital still sitting on the sidelines, graduating now from the smaller check size to now having to write bigger checks. But we're starting to kind of see those deals kind of come to fruition where they'll start to kind of reset those bases, where now it's going to be deals you're going to find at much cheaper than loan bases that are now they essentially have to make sense at lower than the loan bases. We're still going to continue to see distressed sponsors, obviously, where it's going to be the biggest opportunity will be good assets, good locations, good markets with bad balance sheets, bad capital structure. And that's really going to be the biggest opportunity we're going to see in the next 12 to 18 months.
Last question for both of you, gentlemen. Pull out your crystal ball and share with us what 2025 will look like for you, John.
More deals by everybody, more deals, obviously by us, hopefully. And I think there's going to be a lot more deals matriculating in the marketplace, period, whether they're originated by folks like us or originated by sponsors. But yeah, bottom line is more deals.
Yeah. My crystal ball is a bit more hazy. I won't speak so much as far as where we will be with rates and so forth. I do agree there's going to be more deals, but I think one thing that is not being discussed is really going to be the amount of capital that is out in the market is who is really going to be able to capitalize on and whether or not that velocity of deals will keep up with the amount of capital that's out in the market. We're starting to see a very kind of uptick in amount of bids and sponsors and capital that are chasing deals, where it's now multiple amounts of guys who are coming in, 14, 15 bids, and it's becoming more of a bidding war. So it's going to be interesting in 2025 to see if there's going to be enough deals for it to kind of satisfy all that capital.
Being that we're 3 months away from the presidential election, based on the scenario who wins, right, between the two top candidates, how do you think this is going to play out? How much of an influence would the result of the presidential election would have on investments, if any?
I don't know if it will. I really don't know if it will at all, no matter who's in office. Because no matter who's in office, they're going to try to do something good for the economy.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who. That's historically always been the case. The incoming office holder, presidential office holder, is always going to try to do something to stimulate the economy the first 6 months to a year that they're in office, because they're going to want to make themselves look great. So I don't know if it's going to make a difference who's going to be in office. I think it's going to make a difference what rates do, how government is responding to possibly recessionary pressures. So that will make more of a difference on who's in office necessarily. But that could be also driven, I guess, based on who's in the office. I mean, long term, the taxation treatment is obviously going to be something that's going to be different from one party to another. But overall, people are going to do deals no matter who's in office, and there's always going to be deals that are going to be found no matter who's in office.
100%. Nailed it. Yeah. Can't add more to that. So, full agree.
Gentlemen, much appreciated. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you both.
Of course.